All right, let's get started. We're diving into semiotics. And if you're doing any kind of MA level work in the humanities, this is one of those tools you absolutely have to have in your back pocket. It's basically a key for unlocking how culture, communication, and, well, meaning itself actually works. So, let's get right into it.
So, first things first, what is semiotics? Seems like a pretty straightforward question, right? But here's the funny thing. The answer can be incredibly slippery. Even people who study it for a living can struggle to pin it down. It kind of feels like it's both everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
You know, there's this classic scenario. Imagine you walk into a bookshop and ask where to find a book on semiotics. Chances are you'll get a blank stare. You might say, oh, it's the study of signs, but that just opens up a whole other can of worms, doesn't it? What kind of signs? And that right there is the core problem. It's just so hard to pin down.
And this is exactly why it's so tricky. I mean, what even is a sign? Our minds immediately jump to things like, road signs or pub signs. But for semiotics, the idea of a sign is way, way bigger. We're talking about drawings, paintings, photos, the words we're using right now, sounds, even body language. So the big question becomes, how can all of these incredibly different things be analyzed under the same umbrella? What's the common link?
Okay, so to get our heads around this, we're going to break it down. We'll start with that definition problem, then meet the founding fathers of the field. After that, we'll ride what's called the structuralist wave, look at how signs work in a social context, and then wrap up with why all of this still matters for researchers like you today. All right, let's start at the beginning with the founding fathers. And what's so interesting is that our story starts with two brilliant minds who are working on the exact same problem, but from two completely different angles. So on one side, we have the Swiss linguist, Ferdinand de Saussure. Around 1916, he basically dreamed up an entire new science. He called it semiology. And his big idea was to create a way to study the life of signs within society itself. And what's really fascinating is that Saussure, a linguist, didn't see linguistics as the be-all and end-all. Not at all. He saw it as just one part of this bigger science of signs. He thought the rules that semiology would uncover would actually apply to linguistics, finally giving language its proper place in the grand scheme of things. Now, get this, and this is a great little historical tidbit. At almost the exact same time, all the way across the Atlantic, an American philosopher named Charles Sanders Peirce was doing something incredibly similar. He was building his own massive theory of signs. And the crazy part? They had no idea the other existed. Two parallel tracks, completely independent. Okay, this slide is absolutely key, especially for anyone revising for exams. This is the fundamental split. You've got Saussure, the linguist, who's all about how signs work as shared social rules, kind of like a language. Then you have Peirce, the philosopher, coming at it from logic. He was trying to classify every single type of sign you could possibly imagine. And this isn't just trivia. This fork in the road is huge. Saussure's path leads straight to cultural studies, while Peirce's work became foundational for philosophy and cognitive science. Two different starting points, two very different legacies.
So we have these two terms floating around, semiology from Saussure and semiotics from Peirce. But over time, Peirce's term, semiotics, is the one that won out. Today, we use semiotics as the big umbrella term that covers the whole field, including both of these original traditions.
Next up, the structuralist wave. This is where Saussure's ideas really take off and start a huge intellectual movement, basically treating all of culture as if it were a language.
So what was so special about structuralism? Well, the core idea was pretty radical for its time. It said you could take almost anything, a myth, a fashion magazine, even a wrestling match, and analyze it like a language. The whole point was to dig beneath the surface, to find the hidden grammar, the deep structures and rules that were secretly giving it all meaning.
And man, did this idea catch on. It just spread like wildfire across different fields. You have the anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss using it to deconstruct myths. The psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan famously argued the unconscious is structured like a language. And, most importantly for us, you have Roland Barthes, who took these tools and applied them to pretty much everything in popular culture.
Yeah, Roland Barthes is really the figure who took semiotics out of the dusty lecture halls and made it cool. His book Mythologies from 1957 is a classic. He analyzed everything from the new Citroën car to soap commercials, showing how this method could pull back the curtain on the hidden beliefs of everyday life. But the story doesn't stop there. Finding hidden structures is one thing, but a new generation of thinkers started asking a tougher question. Who do these structures serve? This is where things get political.
And this brings us to what's called social semiotics. The big shift here is moving away from abstract systems and looking at how signs work out there in the real world. Suddenly, signs aren't just neutral little packets of meaning. Nope, they're seen as active forces in society, tools that can carry ideology and be used in power struggles.
This is where semiotics starts to intersect with ideas from thinkers like Marx. Scholars started asking about the ideological work that signs do. How do they make certain power dynamics feel completely natural, like they're just the way things are? And a key figure leading this charge was Stuart Hall.
In fact, a major hub for all of this was the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies in Birmingham, led by Stuart Hall. What they were doing there was basically inventing modern cultural studies as we know it, using this critical, socially aware approach to analyze culture. Okay, so we've gone from linguistics to structuralism to social critique. So what? What does this all mean for you right now as a student or a researcher?
Well, here's the bottom line. While you might not see a lot of pure, old-school structuralism these days, you absolutely have to know this history. Why? Because semiotics gives you the fundamental language, the basic toolkit for pretty much any kind of cultural or media analysis you're going to do.
So just to recap the journey, this is a great slide for revision. The idea starts as a concept in linguistics with Saussure. It becomes a tool for analyzing culture's language with people like Barth. Then, it turns into a method for social critique with Hall. And today, it's an essential foundation for research.
And this all leads to the big question, the one that really matters for your own work. How can you use this? Well, now you have the framework. You can take literally any piece of culture, an ad, a TikTok video, a news headline, and start asking these questions. What are the signs? What are the hidden rules or codes? But then, and this is the crucial part that comes from social semiotics, you ask the big one. Whose version of reality is being sold as normal here? Who benefits from this meaning? And that's the real power of semiotics. It's not just about understanding culture, it's about giving you the tools to take it apart.